Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we are continuing our Rise of the Red Skull campaign playthrough as Peter Parker Spider-Man, and today we're going to be coming up against Taskmaster in scenario number 3. So as usual, let's start with the rule book here, and let's get into it. So first off, starting with Spider-Woman saying, "Whew, I'm glad that's done. Truly, that was a glorious battle. Hey, what was that?" I guess there's some sort of explosion or something. "I have no idea. Let's get back to base and find out what's going on." Are you seeing what I'm seeing? If you're seeing that Hydra somehow stole our tower, then yeah. Kaboom, or Kathoom, we're hit. We're going down. Ha, boom, no more Avengers. Let's go make sure they're down. They're done for, boys. All right, so that's the setup for this scenario number 3, Taskmaster. So, with Absorbing Man in shield custody and Madam Hydra in the wind, you are flying back to Avengers Tower to plan your next move when all reality is changed in a flash of yellow light. When you reach New York City, you are shocked to find Avengers Tower emblazoned with the Hydra banner. But before you can process what has happened, an explosion rocks your Quinjet and you crash land in the city. On the ground, you find that all of New York is under Hydra rule. Anti-hero propaganda is plastered on every corner, and squads of Hydra soldiers patrol the streets. They are led by the notorious Taskmaster, Hydra's new chief of police. He is going door to door hunting down heroes and locking them up. He fired the surface-to-air missile that brought you down, and now he is searching for you. Alrighty, so we are all set up and ready to go here. A few noteworthy things are we still have the adrenal stims off to the side here, so that's still available to us. We have the basic attack upgrade now, so this is a setup card. We get an extra hit point, so we got 10 as our base HP, and Spider-Man has an extra attack. Coming up against Taskmaster, things to be mindful are as his force response. As soon as we change to hero form, we have to draw a boost card and take that amount of damage that there are boost icons. So let's start with the main scheme here. So the hunting down heroes main scheme. So Taskmaster has got the Weapon Master modular set loaded up, as well as the Hydra Patrol. And as part of the setup, we've got this extra deck of 4 cards. These are captive hero allies that are going to come out when a certain side scheme comes into play. And we'll be able to rescue them and add them to our deck if that comes down. So that's ready to go. Now we switch over to the hunting down heroes side. It says the notorious Taskmaster has been appointed Hydra's chief of police. His top priority is hunting down the outlaw heroes. Force response. After resolving step 1 of the villain phase, each player in hero form must choose to either take 1 threat here or take 1 damage. And the other thing I've neglected to mention is as part of this setup, we had to search the encounter deck for the Hydra Patrol side scheme and put it into play. So that's why that one is there right now. So we just need to add some threat to these schemes. So we've got a base of 1 plus 1 per player. So there's 2 on the main scheme. The target value is 12. And then here we've got the Hydra Patrol starts with 2 threat. And when it's defeated, a minion is going to come down. Okay, so I think that does the setup. So now we can draw our opening hand of 6 cards. Start with the Web Shooter. There's a Concussive Blow. There's a Spider Tracer. Under Surveillance. A Heroic Intuition. And another Under Surveillance. So I'm going to get rid of the Under Surveillance. I think I'm also going to do the Spider Tracer. Concussive Blow can confuse an enemy, and if we use a strength resource to pay for it. I do know that thwarting is going to be handy in this game, just because if those captured by Hydra side schemes come down, I can rescue allies, and I get to use those allies for the rest of the campaign. So actually, I'm going to keep these 2, and then let's draw 4 cards. So there's a Backflip, there is a First Aid, there is a Swinging Web Kick, and a Genius card. Okay. So let's get into it here. So I think what I'm going to do first is use the Scientist ability to generate a mental resource. So I'm going to generate that to pay for the Web Shooter. So we'll put that web shooter into play right here with 3 counters on it. And now let's flip over into the Spider-Man side. Now, as soon as I flip over, I have to draw a counter card, and there's 1 boost icon there, which means that Spidey takes 1 damage, thanks to that fun ability of the Force Response from Taskmaster. Let's see here. We have... So I think I do want to put... I do want to put the Heroic Intuition into play, but that's going to cost me 2 resources, and then I won't have enough for... Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep these 2 cards into my next turn, and I'm going to spend the Genius and the First Aid to pay for the Swinging Web Kick. So I can do a big hit for damage. So that's going to take him down to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 HP. So that's a nice opening hit against Taskmaster. Spidey. Oh, you know what? I do have an extra resource here, so I can do this. Okay, so I'm going to exhaust my web shooter and use one of these resources to put the Heroic Intuition card into play, and I'll use this as the other resource. So now I have +1 thwart. So I actually have 2 thwart. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the Hydra Patrol side scheme. I'm going to thwart for the 2 necessary to get rid of that. So when defeated, each player searches the encounter deck and discard for a Hydra Mercenary or a Hydra Minion and puts them into play. Let's see here. So there's a Hydra Soldier. Now there's 3 different types of Hydra minions. So let's see what we got here. There's a Hydra Hunter. He's only got 3 hit points. He gains piercing and ranged, but I think I'm going to choose to put him into play just because Spidey actually has a base attack of 3, so he can hit him once and take him out, which I think is going to be worthwhile instead of something with 4, and then I have to have him out for longer. That's my strategy for that, at least. So let's shuffle this up once more and split it, and let's call that shuffled. Okay, so we don't have any cards in our hand here. So I think we're going to end our turn there. So Spidey is going to ready, and we're going to draw 5 cards. So we get a Helicarrier, Power of Justice, a Swinging Web Kick, another Swinging Web Kick, and an Interrogation Room. Okay. All right, well, we don't know what's going to happen here, so let's just wait and see. So the beginning of the villain phase happens. So a threat comes down to the main scheme. And now after resolving step 1, each player in hero form must choose to either place another threat there or take a damage. I'm going to take a damage. I don't want too much threat piling up there, and I have a little bit of a buffer there. So now Taskmaster is going to attack, and he initiates an attack against me, and I'm going to draw a card because of that. So there's Aunt May, which is handy. Now he does a base 2 plus 2. So he's doing 4 damage to me. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now the Hydra Hunter is going to attack me. And yeah, I think I'm just going to take it so I can take out the Hydra Hunter next turn. So he does 2 damage. He's got piercing and range, but that doesn't play in. Okay, so that resolves the attack portion of the villain phase. Now we're getting a counter card, and it is Shadow of the Past. Cool. Okay, well, someone else is coming out to play, and that is Vulture. So when revealed, each player places a random card from their hand face down here. Highway Robbery side scheme. Just took a card right out of my hand. I hope that it ends up taking a Swinging Web Kick. I know I've got 2 of them in my hand. So if he does, then I can kind of save that for a rainy day kind of thing. So that will be all right. I'll know pretty quickly. Yeah, that's what he took. Okay. This is going to start with 3 threat on it. So it's got the acceleration icon, meaning an additional threat is going to come down each turn. And, Vulture. It has Quick Strike. After this minion engages your hero, it attacks. So he's going to attack me. I can defend. Oh, I can defend. Okay, I've got 3 defense. Here I was thinking I had 1 defense. So I defend against Vulture's attack. And that negates all 3 damage that he would have done. But that sucks because that means I can't hit him back next turn or take out that Hydra Hunter was what I wanted to do. Okay. Oh, yeah. And sorry, I need to put these Vulture Nemesis minion cards into the encounter deck. So let's just slot them in here now. And then we still will shuffle. That was a wrench in our plans. Not exactly what I wanted to happen, but hey, that's how the game goes. Okay, so that is shuffled. Let's straighten that out a little bit. And now that was the encounter card for the villain phase. So now we're going to start into the hero phase. And we're going to have to do some stuff here. These guys are going to scheme 3 total. So that's not great. I think now is a good time for me to break in case of emergencies. And that is the Adrenal Stims. So we're going to, as a hero action, discard this card and remove it from the campaign log. And ready your hero and deal 5 damage from them. So now it says discard this card. So it doesn't say remove it from the game. It just says remove it from the campaign log. So it won't be able to come up next game, but at least I think I'm playing that right. So I'm going to ready my hero and recover 5 damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 7 health. And now at least I'm ready. I can do something here. Because I was thinking of maybe installing Aunt May and then flipping over to Alter Ego and then going that route. But let's do this first. Let's attack with Spidey. We're going to do all 3 damage to the Hydra Hunter to make him go away. So now it's just us, the Vulture, and Taskmaster. I could do a swinging web kick and take out Vulture. Seems kind of overkill. Because he's only got the 4 hit points, but it would take him out, which might be the best thing that we can do right now. Interrogation Room. After we defeat a minion, exhaust Interrogation Room to remove a threat from a scheme. That would cost us 2 of our cards. And then we'd only have 3, which we can't do anything. Oh, we have the web shooter still too, so I should keep that in mind. And then if I do flip over, I do have that additional resource as Peter Parker. It would remove a threat from a scheme, but then I'd be in Alter Ego mode, and then there's more threats going to come down. Don't know that I want to do that either. I think I should do the swinging web kick, and I will spend. I need 3 resources to pay for it. I'll spend these 3, or do I want to keep Aunt May, or do I want to keep the Interrogation Room? Okay, I don't want to make that choice right now. So why don't I spend these 2 plus this 1? So that's the 3 resources required to pay for the swinging web kick. And I'm going to direct the swinging web kick against Vulture. So that overpays by 4, but it takes Vulture off the board at least. Now I could... let me just quickly backtrack that. I think I'm going to stay in hero mode, but let's just pretend for a second that Vulture was still here and I was just about to do the play against him, but I'm instead going to install the Interrogation Room. I think it just makes good sense. So by doing so, then I use the swinging web kick defeat the vulture. I've defeated a minion, so now I exhaust the interrogation room to remove a single threat from a scheme, and now I take one threat off of the highway robbery scheme. So now there's just the two on the highway robbery side scheme. Vulture's off the board. And I think I'm going to stay in hero mode. So let's ready up and see what happens here. I still got 7 hit points, which is not too shabby. So let's draw 5 cards. We get an enhanced spider sense, another web shooter, a backflip, a spider tracer, and Nick Fury. Okay. Okay. So now the villain phase begins. A threat comes down on the main scheme. So that's going to be 4 in total. So let's replace that with 3 just to make it clean. So 4 threat on the main scheme. Now, force response, we either take a damage and we're going to take a damage instead of adding an additional threat. Oh, sorry. And another threat would have come down thanks to the advancement icon on the highway robbery side scheme. Okay, so that resolves the beginning part of the villain phase. Now the Taskmaster is going to attack Spider-Man. So he's going to initiate an attack. I'm going to take it so that I'm ready to do something. So that means I get to draw a card. So I get Avengers Mansion. Now he does a base 2 plus 1. So he's doing 3 damage to Spidey. So down to 3. And now an encounter card gets dealt, and it's a swinging swoop. When revealed, stun your hero. If Vulture's in play, this card gains Surge, but he's not. So this just can go away, which is all right. Still stunned. Still that kind of sucks. But that's okay. So now we are on to the hero phase. What should we do? So we got an extra resource. We had an extra card given to us, which is all right. Why don't we... what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to spend the last web shooter resource to install this new resource card, the web shooter. So I get 3 available, so without losing any cards in my hand. I think I should install Nick Fury. And to do that, I have to pay 4 resources. Now, I think I might just... See, if I keep the backflip, I can backflip out of his next attack, which might be handy. And then I can stay in hero phase. Otherwise, I gotta flip and it's risky. I mean, it's risky either way, but yeah, why don't I do that? So I'm going to keep the backflip. I'm going to use the web shooter and these 3 cards as the resources required to install Nick Fury. And Nick Fury, once he enters play, I can remove 2 threat from a scheme, which I'm going to do. Or I could draw 3 cards and kind of keep my turn going, because he has a thwart of 2. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw 3 cards. So there's a Webbed Up, there's Daredevil, and there's Black Cat. Okay. All right. I can work with that. So now Nick Fury's in play. Oh, okay. I'm going to install Black Cat with these 2 cards as the resources required. And doing so allows me to draw 2 cards. And for any with a mental resource, none. Okay, so I don't get to keep any additional cards, but at least I got Black Cat in play. I still have the backflip in hand. So now Nick Fury is going to thwart for 2. So he's going to take off the 2 threat on the highway robbery. So when defeated, I return this card into its owner's hand. So there's that swinging web kick back in hand. Black Cat can still do something here, so she can attack for without taking a damage, so she will do that. So we'll take him down to 4 hit points. Spidey is stunned. Now I could leave him stunned, but I do have this backflip. When the villain, and interrupt defense. So it's a defense action. So I should be able to backflip away from his attack. It still runs the risk of the villain attacking twice, which is a possibility. But how possible is that? Do I want to roll those dice? I think maybe I will. Just because who knows, maybe I can even do a swinging web kick next turn and take him out to the next stage or beyond that. So why don't I can attack him for 3 to take him down to a single hit point, or I could thwart and take 3 off. You know what? I'm going to, I'm stunned. What was I thinking? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to attack and remove the stun status and keep that amount of threat on the main scheme, but stay in hero mode. So that way I can maybe do, hopefully, something cool next turn. So let's ready everyone up here. Oh, you know what? Oh, that was kind of dumb because I'm probably not going to use the backflip because I can just block with Nick Fury here, which is what I'm going to do. Well, who knows? Maybe he's going to attack twice and I have that insurance. So, okay. So that's okay. Threat comes down to the main scheme. I'm going to take an additional damage instead of adding another threat. So down to 2 hit points. So getting a little dicey here. Now, Taskmaster is going to attack. Nick Fury jumps in the way to block it. So he's doing 2 plus boost. If you were in hero form, take 1 damage. Okay. So take 1 damage down to 1 single hit point. But Nick Fury blocks the attack. So he gets discarded. Now an encounter card gets dealt, and it's a Hydra Soldier who has guard. So I'll have to get him out of the way. Okay, and he deals an encounter card when he's resolved. What am I doing? I should have drawn the remaining 3 cards that I needed. The Webbed Up. There's a 4 Justice and an Enhanced Spider Sense. Oh, and he initiated an attack against me, so I will draw this additional card, which is the first aid, so that actually could come in handy to heal me up a little bit. Okay, so now we are in our turn, so what should we do? We need some health, pretty badly actually. So let's play a first aid, and I'll exhaust the web shooter. Oh, wait. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to flip over into alter ego mode to do some additional recovery a little bit here? Because I could attack with Black Cat and then attack with Spidey to take out that Hydra Soldier, which would get him off the board. I could thwart. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to play a 4 Justice, and I'm going to pay for it with this web shooter. And because I realize I do need to get some threat off of that, especially if I'm even thinking about switching into alter ego mode. So spending that and this enhanced spider sense. Now I'm going to choose to make the web shooter resource. It's a wild, so I'm going to make it a mental. Oh, this is a mental resource anyways. Okay, so that means that I can remove 4 threat from a scheme. So that takes us nice and down to something more manageable. Now I can, what should I do here? So I have the first aid in my hand, which would sure be nice to use. But I still want to capitalize on doing as much as I can with the cards in my hand. Okay. Why don't I take out this minion? So let's attack for 4 in total. So the 3 from Spidey and the 1 from Black Cat. Again, she doesn't take a damage when she gets to when she doesn't attack. So he's got guards. So now I could attack Taskmaster, but when defeated, deal the engaged player an encounter card. So we get an encounter card. I'm also going to exhaust the interrogation room to remove a threat from the side, from the main scheme, that is. So now I have to choose what to do. I could do a swinging web kick and take him to the next phase. I don't have the 4 resources required to web him up. I'm exhausted now, so I can't recover if I wanted to. I was thinking if I could just somehow squeak it, but I can't, to be able to use the first aid and get into alter ego mode. But I think it just makes... I got 1 hit point left. I need to go into alter ego mode. The question is, what am I going to do before I get there? I think I'm just going to switch over to alter ego mode. I'm going to use the free scientist resource to use the first aid to heal 2 damage. So up to 3 hit points. And now there's not really anything I can do with any of these cards, because they're all required me to be in hero mode. So this turn does feel like a bit of a dud, but I gotta heal. There's no way I have to. And I reduced the threat on the main scheme by quite a bit, so I'm happy with that. I think I'm going to keep the swinging web kick for a rainy day here and discard these 2. So now I can ready everyone up, and let's draw our hand of 6 in total. So we got the swinging web kick, we got an energy card, there's a counter intelligence, there's a 4 justice, there is a concussive blow, and the last card is Jessica Jones. Okay. So we got 6 cards in hand for our next turn. And now the villain phase begins. Now a threat is going to come down. Now this force response only is if the player's in hero form. So that there's no other bad stuff that's going to happen this time. The villain is going to scheme for a base of 1 plus 2. So he's going to scheme for 3. So that means that there's 5 threat of the main scheme. Now an encounter card is going to get dealt. The first encounter card is Taskmaster's Training Camp. Taskmaster only accepts the best troops into his police force. Before a Hydra soldier can enlist, they must survive his training camp. Force response. After a minion enters play, give it a tough status card. Okay, and that's got the extra encounter card symbol on it. So that starts with 2 threat on it. Now, what's this card? It is Concussive Grenade. When revealed as alter ego, you are confused. Place 1 threat on the main scheme, 2 threat instead if you were already confused. So, okay, so 1 additional threat on the main scheme there. And now we are finished with this villain phase. Sorry, I just want to straighten that up. Okay, now we are in the hero phase. As the alter ego mode, we get the free resource. Now we're confused, but that doesn't prevent us from exhausting to recover 3. So we're going to go up to 6 hit points. And what else can we do in alter ego mode? We can spend that additional resource to do something. Put an ally into play. I think that's probably going to be our best bet. Let's get Jessica Jones out here. Let's use the scientist resource, and I'll use this energy card to get her on deck here. She gets +1 thwart for each side scheme in play. So that's all right. Why don't... Actually, if I switch over to Spider-Man, he's going to take a damage right away. 4 justice, remove 3 threat from a scheme. Oh no. Concussive blow might be handy, but that's more if I'm just getting prepared to go into alter ego mode. So I think I'm going to flip over into Spider-Man's side. As soon as I do that, Taskmaster says draw a card and take a damage equal to the number of boosts. There's 1 boost icon there, so he's down to 5. 5 hit points. I'm confused, which means I cannot thwart, but I can still attack. So I have a swinging web kick, which I think I'm going to do. First, let's just get this out of the way. She gets +1 thwart for each side scheme you play, so she's going to thwart for 2. So she'll take a damage in the process. She's going to remove the 2 threat off Taskmaster's training camp to get rid of that. Now Black Cat. Oh, see, swinging web kick will allow me to do 8 damage, which is way overkill for what I need. I would love it if he was in stage 2 already, but he's not. I could do 4 justice. Why don't I do that? And I'm going to keep the swinging web kick once more. I'm going to keep it for a rainy day. So let's do 4 justice, and I'm going to spend the concussive blow and the counterintelligence. And when the concussive blow has a strength resource on it, so it means that I can remove 4 threat from a scheme. So I will do that here. So that takes the main scheme down to 2. Hang on. No, I'm cheating here. That's a thwart action, and he's stunned. Or confused, rather. So I can't do that. Boo. Boo earns. Maybe it does just make the most sense to attack with a swinging web kick. Even though I'm overpaying, it at least will take him to the next stage. At which point I can maybe do something kind of cool. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to do that. Play the swinging web kick to do 8 damage. That'll take him down to 0. And Taskmaster stage 1 complete. Now it's stage 2. When revealed, deal each player an encounter card. Whoops, that sucks. And then again, after the player switches, then I take damage from the number of boost icons. So that is my turn. He starts with 16 hit points in stage 2. So he's got 16 HP, and I think I'm going to just attack with Black Cat to take it down to 15. And I think I'm going to leave it there. So we are still in hero mode. We're going to ready things up, draw 5 cards. This could get ugly. Power of Justice, Counterintelligence, Strength, Endurance, another encounter card, and we still are owed 1 more card. So we're going to have 3 encounter cards in this villain phase, which I'm not enthused over at all. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. Maybe we can get one of those allies, assuming that we're going to survive this. But yeah, those captured allies is what I'm referring to, that come down in the captured by Hydra side scheme. Okay, so that was 4 cards in hand. Now 1 additional card makes it a swinging web kick. Okay, so that's our hand. Villain phase begins. I'm in hero mode. So a threat comes down on the main scheme. I've got 5 hit points. I'm going to take another threat on the main scheme. So that's going to mean that let's remove all these 1s and replace it with a singular 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8 threat on the main scheme. And now Taskmaster is going to attack. I could block with Black Cat to take 0 damage. And I think that probably makes the most sense, because I don't want to get too close to 0 hit points or get to 0 hit points. So he does a base of 2 plus 0. So he does 2 damage to Black Cat. That takes her out. Now another encounter card gets dealt. And let's see what we have here. First one, eviction notice. The card gains surge if I choose the second option. So I could flip to Peter Parker's side and exhaust him, which is what I'm going to do to remove the eviction notice from the game. Next encounter card is Hunted by Hydra. In sight, 1. So another threat comes down the main scheme. When revealed, each player in hero form takes a damage. Well, I'm not in hero form, so that kind of worked out well. Next one is Taskmaster's Sword. He gains piercing and a +1 attack for his attacks. Okay. I'm exhausted. so I cannot recover on this coming turn. But at least I'm still in the game, so I got that going for me. Oh, he did initiate an attack against me, even though Black Cat jumped in to defend it. So I will draw a card. So there's a webbed up. So webbed up, swinging web kick, endurance, strength, counterintelligence, power of justice. Power of justice. Any amount of threat we place in the main scheme, I could discard that to prevent 3 of that threat. So we got 8, 9 out of 12 on the main scheme right now. I got 5 hit points. I'm in alter ego mode, which means I get that extra resource. So why don't I use that extra resource to get the endurance card into play? This increases my hit points by 3. So actually that would be very helpful right now. Okay, so now I have a base of 13 hit points. So, and now this is the start of a new round, and I can transition between hero and alter ego once per round. So I can technically spin over into Spider-Man mode. So I think I ought to do that. So I'm going to flip over into Spidey. As soon as I do that, there's an encounter card. It says Force Response. After player changes the hero, discard a top card of the encounter deck and take damage equal to the number of boost icons. So there's no boost. Well, I guess there is a boost icon. So I take 1 damage. But I don't get the boost effect. So there's a boost icon of 1. So he goes down to 7 hit points. I'm in hero mode. I can do a swinging web kick. And I gotta math this out a little bit. So I could spend these 2 cards to play the swinging web kick. And then I could still install the counterintelligence, which would be handy enough for removing some threat down the line. I don't think there's a way that I could do a swinging web kick plus the webbed up, because I have 1 resource available to me in that web shooter, but that's not going to cut it. So why don't I do that? I'm going to do the swinging web kick, and I'll pay for it with these 3 resources. So that does 8 damage to an enemy. So taking him down to 10, 9, 8, 7 hit points, if my math is correct. So down to 7 HP. I can use the power of justice to install this counterintelligence card. So that will allow me to remove any amount of threat. Well, when any amount of threat would be placed in the main scheme, I can discard it to negate 3 of that, but then I discard that card. Still have the resource available to me here in the web shooter. Jessica Jones gains +1 thwart for each side scheme in play, but there's no side scheme. So I think I'm just going to attack for 2. So she'll take a damage and take him down to 5 HP. And think that's it for my turn. So let's ready things up here. All these cards are ready. Now let's draw 5 cards. There's a swinging web kick. There's a counterintelligence. There's a 4 justice. Another swinging web kick. And Mockingbird. So that's my hand. Villain phase begins. A threat comes down. So we've got 8, 9, 10 threat on the main scheme. And I'll choose to take a damage instead of placing an additional threat. Villain's going to attack for a base of 3. Jessica Jones jumps in the way of Spider-Man to defend against the attack. But because he's initiating an attack against Spidey, I get to draw a card, which is an Under Surveillance fan. He does 2, 3 plus 1, does 4 damage to Jessica Jones, which is more than enough to knock her out. Now an encounter card gets dealt. It's Mimicry, Treachery. When revealed as the hero, discard the top 5 cards of your deck. If an attack card was discarded this way, Taskmaster attacks you. So if there's an attack card that gets discarded, so there's a first aid, there's an ally, there's a concussive blow attack. Spider Tracer, and the Surveillance Van. Okay, so he's going to attack me now. I think what I should do is defend against it, because he starts with 3. There could be a boost icon with 3 on it. So Spidey defends. He does 3 plus 1, 4. So 1 damage spills into it. And because he initiated an attack against me, I get to draw a card. That's the rules for justice. Okay, so that does complete the villain's phase here, the attack phase. The villain phase, rather. So now we are into the hero phase. We are exhausted, but we can still attack with a swinging web kick. So we'll use all of our cards to pay for this swinging web kick to do 8 damage. Well, 0 is all, or 5 damage is all that was required. And now we have knocked out Taskmaster. So that takes care of that guy. Let's take a look in the campaign book here. The victory condition, it says, each player who rescued 1 or more allies from the Taskmaster encounter sets those aside. Well, I didn't. Not even once did I see that that card come down. Let's see here. Yeah, oh, there's 2. No, oh, that's at the bottom of the deck. Captured by Hydra says I would have revealed one of the set-aside captive allies and then would have had to remove 5 threat. But these allies are so cool because they cost 0 to play. And they do cool things. You know, well, how can you go wrong with a free ally? But and I could have taken them with me to the rest of the campaign. But no such luck in this playthrough. I will be playing this campaign again with other characters. So there's that at least. But yeah, but overall, still happy with the result. We beat Taskmaster. We are moving on to stage 4, which is against Zola, I believe. So stay tuned for that episode. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.